In just 39 seconds, Prince Harry's calm mask completely shattered on live television. What started as polite conversation turned into a full-blown screaming match that ended with the Duke of Sussex being thrown off the set. Denise Welch didn't hold back, and what she said next left Harry speechless, red-faced, and absolutely fuming. Before we get into this explosive showdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We bring you daily videos exposing the royal family's darkest scandals. You won't want to miss a single upload. Now let's get into what happened last night. The atmosphere in the Loose Women's studio felt different from the moment Prince Harry walked onto the set. The audience clapped politely, but there was something in the air. Denise Welch sat at the panel with her arms crossed, a tight smile on her face that didn't quite reach her eyes. The other panelists exchanged nervous glances as Harry took his seat on the famous purple sofa. "Welcome to Loose Women, Prince Harry," Denise said, her voice pleasant but with an edge that anyone paying attention could hear. "Thanks for joining us today." "Happy to be here," Harry replied, adjusting his jacket and flashing that familiar grin. "Always good to have honest conversations." "Oh, we're definitely going to have an honest conversation," Denise shot back immediately. "Let's talk about your latest interview. You've been quite busy speaking to the media lately, haven't you?" Harry's smile faltered for just a second. "I think it's important to share my truth and speak about things that matter." "Your truth?" Denise repeated, leaning forward. "That's an interesting phrase. So there's your truth, and then there's everyone else's truth?" "That's not what I meant," Harry said, his jaw tightening. "I mean my perspective, my experiences." Denise nodded slowly, but her expression said she wasn't buying it. "Right. Your experiences. The ones you've shared in interviews, in your book, in documentaries. Tell me, how many times can you sell the same story before it becomes less about truth and more about profit?" The audience gasped. One of the other panelists touched Denise's arm as if to say, "Easy now," but Denise brushed her off. Harry's face flushed. "I've been sharing my story to help people who've struggled with mental health, with losing a parent, with feeling trapped, and making millions while doing it," Denise interrupted. "Let's not pretend this is charity work, Harry. You signed massive deals worth hundreds of millions. That's not helping people. That's helping yourself." "I don't think that's fair," Harry said, his voice rising slightly. "I've donated to charity. I've used my platform for good causes." "After taking your massive paycheck first, though, right?" Denise pressed. "You talk about wanting privacy, but you won't stop talking. You say you want to protect your family, but you've exposed them to the world. Which is it, Harry? Because to me, it looks like you want it both ways." Harry shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. "You don't understand the full picture. There are things that happen behind closed doors that people need to know about." "Behind closed doors in palaces that taxpayers funded," Denise said sharply. "Doors that your grandmother, your father, and your brother walked through. Doors you benefited from your entire life. But now that you're on the outside, suddenly everyone else is the villain?" "I never said everyone was a villain," Harry protested. "Didn't you, though?" Denise challenged. "You've implied your family is racist. You've said they were cold and unsupportive. You've painted your brother as aggressive, your father as emotionally distant. You've thrown everyone under the bus except yourself and your wife. That's convenient, isn't it?" The audience was dead silent now. You could hear a pin drop. The other panelists looked like they wanted to crawl under the table. Harry's face was getting redder. "My family knows what happened. They know the truth." "Do they?" Denise asked, raising her eyebrows. "Because, from what I understand, you didn't give them a heads up before any of these bombshells. You just went ahead and told the world their private business without asking. How is that fair?" "They wouldn't listen to me when I tried to talk to them privately," Harry said, his voice getting louder. "What was I supposed to do? Not sell them out for millions of dollars, for starters," Denise fired back. "You could have walked away quietly. You could have built your new life without burning down the old one. But you didn't. You wanted revenge, and you wanted to get paid for it." "That's not true." Harry stood up slightly, then sat back down, clearly agitated. "I wanted to tell my side because the press was lying about me and my wife." "The press," Denise said with a bitter laugh. "Harry, you are the press now. You've done more interviews than most journalists. You've written a best-selling book where you shared intimate details that no one needed to know. You complain about invasion of privacy while invading everyone else's. You don't know what it's like, Harry said, his voice shaking with anger. You don't know what we went through. The threats, the racism, the lack of support. I don't doubt you had struggles, Denise said, her tone softening just a fraction. But here's the thing, Harry. Everyone has struggles. The difference is, most people don't have the luxury of complaining about it from a mansion in California while collecting millions. You want sympathy, but you're living a life most people can only dream of. Money doesn't fix everything, Harry snapped. No, but it certainly helps, Denise countered. And you've got plenty of it, haven't you? From the deals you made off the back of trashing your own family. That's what bothers people, Harry. Not that you left, not even that you're speaking out. It's the hypocrisy, the constant victimhood, while living in absolute luxury. Harry was gripping the arms of the sofa now, his knuckles white. I'm not playing the victim, I'm standing up for what's right. By making your grandmother's final years miserable? Denise asked quietly, and the whole studio seemed to freeze. By airing dirty laundry while she was dying? That's standing up for what's right? Don't bring my grandmother into this, Harry said, his voice low and dangerous. Why not? You did, Denise said, not backing down an inch. You gave that interview where you criticized the institution she dedicated her entire life to. You did that while she was grieving her husband of 70 years. You did that, Harry. Not me. You. Harry stood up abruptly. I love my grandmother. Funny way of showing it, Denise said, also standing. Selling stories about the family for money while she watched. Real loving behavior there. You have no right to talk about my relationship with my grandmother, Harry said, his voice rising to a near shout. You didn't know her. You didn't know us. I know what everyone saw, Denise said firmly. An elderly woman who'd served her country for 70 years, having to watch her grandson attack the institution she loved on television. I know she released a statement saying she was saddened by it all. Those were her words, Harry. Saddened. Stop it, Harry said, his face now completely red, veins visible on his neck. Why? Does the truth hurt? Denise pressed on. You want to talk about your truth all day long, but you can't handle someone else's? Your grandfather died, and weeks later you were on TV complaining. Your grandmother died, and you rushed back for the funeral, played the grieving grandson, then went back to America and kept selling the same stories. That's not grief, Harry. That's a business model. How dare you, Harry said, pointing a finger at Denise. How dare you question my grief? I'm not questioning your grief, Denise said, her voice rising to match his. I'm questioning your priorities. I'm questioning why you've turned your family trauma into a cash cow. I'm questioning why you can't seem to stop talking long enough to actually heal and move on. You don't understand anything, Harry shouted, fully yelling now. You sit here in your comfortable studio, judging me, judging my wife, acting like you know everything. You don't know what we've been through. Then stop telling us, Denise shouted back. If it's so private and painful, stop doing interviews, stop writing books, stop making documentaries. Just stop. But you won't, will you? Because this is what you do now. This is your job. Professional victim. The audience gasped again, louder this time. One woman covered her mouth. The other panelists looked absolutely horrified. Harry was shaking with rage. I've had enough of this. I came here for a conversation, not to be attacked. Oh, so you can dish it out but you can't take it? Denise said, stepping closer to him. You can call your family racist on international television, but I can't call you out for profiting from it. That's rich, Harry. That's really bloody rich. My family is racist, Harry said through gritted teeth. Or at least, there are concerns about unconscious bias. Unconscious bias? Denise repeated mockingly. That's what you're going with now? You and your wife implied someone made racist comments about your son's skin color, got the whole world angry about it, then backtracked and said, oh well, maybe it was just unconscious bias. Do you have any idea the damage that did? The accusations you threw around without proof? There was proof. We know what was said, Harry insisted. Then why won't you say who said it? Denise demanded. Why won't you give the details? Because I'll tell you why. Because it probably wasn't as bad as you made it sound, and you know if you give specifics, people will see that you've blown it out of proportion. That's not true, Harry said, but his voice lacked conviction. Isn't it? Denise pushed. You've made these huge allegations but won't back them up with facts. That's not brave, Harry, that's cowardly. You've let people speculate and accuse your entire family of racism without giving them a chance to defend themselves properly. Your grandparents, your father, William, Kate, all of them. You let the world think they're racists. I never said it was them specifically, Harry said weakly. You didn't have to, Denise said. You made the accusation and left everyone to guess. That's even worse. At least, if you'd been specific, they could have responded. But you just threw a grenade into the room and walked away. We had our reasons for not being specific, Harry said. Yeah, because you knew it wouldn't hold up under scrutiny, Denise said. Because the truth is probably that someone asked an innocent question that you decided to interpret in the worst possible way. But that doesn't sell books, does it? That doesn't get you sympathy. Harry was breathing heavily now, his chest heaving. You're twisting everything. I'm not twisting anything, Denise said. I'm just not letting you get away with your carefully crafted victim narrative. You want everyone to feel sorry for you, but you won't take responsibility for any of your own actions. It's always someone else's fault. The family, the institution, the press, the public. Never you, never Meghan. Always everyone else. Meghan has been attacked relentlessly, Harry said, his voice breaking slightly. She's been bullied and abused by the media and the public. And some of that is absolutely wrong and should never have happened, Denise said, her tone softening again. No one should receive death threats or racist abuse. That's terrible. But Harry, your wife isn't perfect either. She's made her own choices, some of them questionable. But you won't admit that. You've put her on a pedestal and made her untouchable. Anyone who questions anything she does is labeled a racist or a bully. Because they are, Harry said firmly. All of them? Denise asked. Every single person who's criticized her? The former staff members who complained about her behavior? They're all liars? The people who've pointed out inconsistencies in her stories? They're all bullies? Come on, Harry. You're smarter than that. Those staff members were planted by the palace to make her look bad, Harry said. Oh, here we go, Denise said, throwing her hands up. The conspiracy theories. Everyone's out to get you. The palace, the press, the staff. Probably me too now. We're all part of some grand conspiracy against poor Harry and Meghan. You clearly have an agenda, Harry said, pointing at her again. My agenda is the truth, Denise shot back. My agenda is calling out hypocrisy when I see it. You can't claim to want privacy while courting publicity at every turn. You can't say you want to be normal while living in a mansion and flying on private jets. You can't preach about the environment while having a massive carbon footprint. You can't talk about mental health while causing your own family mental distress. It doesn't work, Harry. You have no idea what you're talking about, Harry said, his voice getting louder again. Then enlighten me, Denise challenged. Explain to me how what you're doing makes sense. Explain how attacking your family publicly helps anyone. Explain how making millions from their pain is justified. Go on. I'm listening. Harry opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. I don't have to explain myself to you. No, you don't, Denise agreed. But you came on this show. You agreed to this interview. You can't just expect softball questions and validation. This is real life, Harry. Real conversations. Not another paid interview where someone tells you how brave you are. This is ridiculous, Harry said, starting to remove his microphone. I'm not staying here to be insulted. There it is, Denise said, nodding. The classic move. When you can't defend yourself, you leave. You storm off. Just like you stormed off from your royal duties. Just like you stormed off to America. Running away is your specialty, isn't it? I'm not running away, Harry said angrily, fumbling with the mic. I'm refusing to engage with someone who's clearly biased against me. Biased? Denise laughed harshly. I'm just asking you questions you don't want to answer. That's not bias. That's accountability. But you don't like accountability, do you? You like telling your story without anyone questioning it. This is bullshit, Harry said, the swear word shocking the audience into another collective gasp. This whole thing is bullshit. Language, Harry, Denise said mockingly. Is that how a prince behaves? I'm not a working royal anymore, remember? Harry snapped. I can say what I want. Oh, you've made that very clear, Denise said. You can say what you want, do what you want. Sell who you want. No rules apply to you anymore. Must be nice. Harry finally got his microphone off and threw it on the sofa. You know what? I thought this would be different. I thought you'd actually listen and have a real conversation. But you're just like all the others. Judgmental, close-minded, and determined to paint me as the bad guy. I don't have to paint you as anything, Denise said calmly. Your actions speak for themselves. You've spent years now complaining about the same things over and over. At some point, Harry, people stop sympathizing and start wondering why you won't just move on. You've got everything you said you wanted. Freedom, privacy, a new life. But you can't let go. You can't stop talking about the past. You can't stop attacking the people who loved you and raised you. They didn't love me, Harry said, and for a moment he looked genuinely hurt. They used me. I was the spare. I was there to support William, to be his backup. I was never valued for myself. That's not true, and you know it, Denise said, her voice gentler but still firm. Your grandmother loved you. Your father loves you. William loved you. Probably still does despite everything. You were cherished, Harry. Maybe not in the way you wanted. Maybe not perfectly. But you were loved. And you've thrown it all away. I haven't thrown anything away, Harry said, his voice breaking. They pushed me out. They made it impossible for me to stay. No, Harry, Denise said quietly. You made it impossible. You made demands they couldn't meet. You wanted to be half in, half out. You wanted the titles and the money without the responsibility. And when they said no, you burned it all down. That's on you. I can't do this, Harry said, backing away from the sofa. I can't sit here and listen to this anymore. Then don't, Denise said, crossing her arms. Leave. Add this to your list of grievances. Tell everyone how Denise Welch was mean to you on Loose Women. Make yourself the victim again. It's what you do best. You're unbelievable, Harry said, shaking his head. You sit there on your high horse judging me, when you don't know a damn thing about my life. I know what you've told the world, Denise countered. I know you've shared every intimate detail of your life for money. I know you've hurt people who can't defend themselves properly, because they're bound by protocol and duty. I know you've broken your grandmother's heart, damaged your relationship with your father, and lost your brother. I know all of that, Harry, because you told us. You told everyone. So don't act like I'm making assumptions. I'm going off your own words. Harry stood there for a moment, his chest heaving, his face red, his eyes watery. You'll never understand. Maybe not, Denise said. But I understand enough to see that what you're doing isn't healthy. It's not healing. It's destructive. And the longer you keep going down this path, the more damage you'll do. Not just to your family, but to yourself. At some point, Harry, you need to stop talking and start actually living the life you claim you want. I am living the life I want, Harry said. But it sounded hollow. Are you? Denise asked. Because from where I'm sitting, you look miserable. You look angry and hurt and lost. You're chasing validation from strangers because you've cut off everyone who actually knows you. That's not freedom, Harry. That's isolation. I have my wife and my children, Harry said. That's all I need. Then why are you here? Denise asked simply. If that's all you need, why do you keep doing interviews? Why do you keep seeking attention? Why can't you just be happy and quiet? Harry didn't have an answer for that. He stood there, mouth opening and closing, clearly struggling. That's what I thought, Denise said. You can't stop because this is your identity now. The wronged prince, the rebel, the truth teller. Without that narrative, what are you? Just another rich guy living in California. And that's not special enough, is it? Screw you, Harry said, his voice low and angry. Screw you and this whole bloody show. Real mature, Harry, Denise said. Very princely. Harry turned to leave, then spun back around. You want to know why I keep talking? Because people like you won't let me move on. Every time I try to just live my life, there's another article, another comment, another person like you judging me. So yeah, I defend myself. I tell my story. Because if I don't, people like you will tell it for me, and they'll get it wrong. We wouldn't have to tell it at all if you'd just shut up and actually move on, Denise said. You're the one keeping this going, Harry. You're the one who won't let it rest. Every interview, every book, every documentary, it's you. You're the common denominator. I'm done with this, Harry said, waving his hand dismissively. This was a mistake. Finally, something we agree on, Denise said. Harry started walking toward the exit, his shoulders tense, his fists clenched at his sides. Harry, Denise called after him. He stopped but didn't turn around. For what it's worth, I hope you find peace. Real peace. Not the kind you get from selling stories or getting sympathy from strangers. The kind that comes from actually forgiving people and moving forward. But that would require you to stop being the victim, and I don't think you're ready for that. Harry stood frozen for a moment, and for a second it looked like he might turn around and say something. But instead, he continued walking, faster now, his footsteps echoing through the silent studio. A production assistant tried to intercept him, probably to remove his mic pack, but Harry waved him off without stopping. He pushed through the studio doors with more force than necessary, and they swung shut behind him with a loud bang that made everyone in the studio jump. The studio remained in absolute silence for several long seconds. Denise stood at the panel, watching the doors Harry had just exited through. The other panelists looked shell-shocked, unsure of what to do or say. The audience sat frozen, many with their hands still covering their mouths. Finally, Denise turned back to the camera, her expression unreadable. "Well," she said, picking up her note card and glancing at it as if nothing unusual had just happened. "I think we all saw that coming."